To my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be explaining this neckline somebody showed me. I already made an off shoulder princess that, so I'm going to just explain to you guys how to insert this neckline. So I'm going to rush through everything except the neckline part. This is very easy to make. So guys, the first thing you're going to do is to mark where you want your top to be. So I folded my fabric into two and added about, let's say, 3 to 4 inches extra, just for my excess, just so you know if you want to cut it directly on your fabric. So the next thing you're going to do is just to place your tape, and then normally your shoulder might start somewhere here, but like I said, this is an off shoulder we are making, and then I want the top to start at 6 inches here, right? This is the line. And then after that, the next thing you're going to mark is your armhole divided by 2, which is this line, and it's going to be my chest line here. And then the next line is my bust line, which is your shoulder to your nipple. Mine is at 12. And then the next line is going to be your shoulder to your under bust. For me, that's about 16. And then after that, you're going to insert your waistline, your shoulder to your waist, which I've marked here. And then I have half an inch of joining it to the bottom part. I'm just going to make this so that I can attach it to maybe just a pencil skirt, but you can attach these bodies to anything you want. So the next thing we're going to do is to come down here, and then we are going to mark nipple to nipple divided by 2. So I'm going to mark it. So for me, that's going to be 4. And then I'm going to come down here, mark the same measurement, 4 inches. And then also bring it down here, mark 4 inches. And then you're going to connect all of them in a straight line. That I'm going to insert like 2 inches here for my dart, and then also put the same thing here. You can do 1.5, you don't have to do 2 inches if you're more on the smaller side. So you can do about so guys, you mark that 2 inches, and then from this line again I'm going to mark 2 inches and connect the two of them together. And then guys, after that, you're going to come down on this your bust line, mark 1 inch, and then you're going to connect it this way. So guys, after that, the next thing you're going to do is your upper chest. You're going to go ahead and measure what you have there. So for me, I have about 14 inches divided by 2. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that 7. So guys, if you don't have this measurement, you can also use your shoulder measurement and subtract like 2 inches from it. That's your shoulder measurement divided by 2. Let's say my shoulder is 16 divided by 2, and then I'm going to remove like, let's say, 1.5 or 2 inches from it. But it will be better if you measure it almost like 1 armpit up top above your breast, 1 armpit to the other, just like that. So guys, once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and insert your bust measurement divided by 4 on this your armhole line, which is the chest line. So for me, I'm going to mark that here, and then I'm going to use my ruler to connect it. I'm also going to insert the video on where I explain this better, how to cut an off shoulder bodice, right? So once you've done that, come down here by 2 inches, right, on this line, 2 inches on this line, and then connect it to this part here. So now that I've done that, I'm also going to go ahead and mark 1 inch on both sides. Mark 1 inch here and then 1 inch on the other side, right? And then I'm going to blend it into this line this way, because this is going to be my dart. So I'm going to just connect it this way. And then once you've done this, now you're going to take the lower leg of the dart, as always, like how you make on how you do it on a princess dart. This lower leg, you're going to extend it even if it's by 1.5 or so. And then once you've done that, you're going to also add it back into the armhole. So this is now going to be my new armhole line. So I'm going to bring it down back again into this armhole. So now this is my new armhole. So guys, now the whole purpose of this video was to show you guys how to make this neckline. So how the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this part up by about 2 inches, right? So 2 inches is what I'm going to do here. So that means, remember I said my chest line will start at 6, but now I increased it to 2 inches. So that means it's going to go up by 4, and then I'm going to just take it this way and blend it into this line this way. So I'm going to just blend it from this point into this point where my chest line is. So I'm going to blend this in. So guys, this is done now. All we have to do is just to go back in and insert all our measurements. So like I said, my bust measurement divided by 4, I already marked that initially. So what I'm going So guys, now that I've marked my bust measurement, I'm also going to insert back this measurement I have here. You can put back the 2 inches, right? So put back that 2 inches from here, and then you're going to now add back these 2 inches from here, and then you're going to add back your seam allowance, which is like, let's say, extra 2 inches. So guys, what I was saying before is that you have to mark your when you want to fold your fabric, because this is on a fold, always remember to use your bust measurement divided by 4 and add back your bust measurement divided by 4 and do extra 4 inches of seam allowance, just so you're sure that it doesn't affect your so that this when you go ahead to cut it, it won't be too small. It's better to have more fabric than to have less, right? So now just come down to the waist and divide your waist measurement by 4. Mark that here, insert these 2 inches back, right? And then once you've done that, you're going to put in 2 inches of seam allowance, guys. So once you've done that, connect these two together this way. So this is basically what the bodice looks like. So from here now, this is the armhole. I'm going to cut from here and then cut into this part and show you guys what it looks like. All I did is the same thing. My bust measurement divided by 4 plus extra 4 inches again. So that's the width here. And then the length here is basically from that 6 inches I said my top will start from and ended at 18, and then plus extra half an inch. That's my half length plus extra half an inch of joining it to the bottom part. So once you've done that, the next thing you're going to do is to also mark in about 1.5 or 1 inch of your zipper allowance. And then after that, you're going to come down here, mark your nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, which for me is going to be 4 inches. Mark half an inch on both sides, just like your normal dart, right? Your normal dart is what you're going to use here. And then come down here, place your tape back again. Everything you starting from this point has to be on your chest, has to be the same measurement you decided to use as your off shoulder. So that's my chest line, which is armhole divided by 2, which is supposed to be about 9.5 for me. So I'm going to just go ahead and extend this 4 inches mark, right, my nipple to nipple again up to this point, which is here. But I'm going to just come down 1 inch from that point and then connect it in a straight line this way, because I don't want my dart to be curved a lot. So just connect it this way and then just connect the dart. Each leg of this dart, you're going to connect it to the point, this point here, just like your normal dart, and then connect the other side again like this. And then once you've done that, also go ahead and measure from your back chest line. That's almost like one armpit side to the other, but on your back, measure it whatever you have. So I'm going to use the same 7 inches again. And then once you've marked that, guys, as you can see, I'm cutting my lining at the same time because I folded it into 2. This is also on a fold because I'm cutting everything once. So once you've done that, you're going to also go ahead and insert your bust measurement on this your chest line. So I'm going to go ahead, your bust measurement divided by 4, insert it here, and then use a curve ruler to connect it to this your upper chest line here. And then once you've done that, just come down here by about 1.5 or 2 inches, or the same measurement you used in front. Like we did 2 inches in front, I'm just going to connect it here and then blend it into this line. So use your ruler to connect it. This is going to be my darts for the back. So this is going to be my dart for the back. Once you've done this here, I'm going to just go ahead and extend. You can just go ahead on this same line. You can just extend it up this way by, let's say, 1 inch, and then blend it into your armhole. Or if you want, you can still give it like half an inch on both sides of the dart. But I don't want it to be to have any darts in here, since I already have a dart here. So I'm just going to extend it in a straight line this way. Connect it to this point and try to give it a curve here because you don't want it to be too sharp here. And then after that, just go ahead and insert your seam allowances. So I'm just going to add extra 2 inches of sewing here and the same extra 2 inches of sewing. So I'm going to just insert my waist measurement divided by 4 here, put back this 1 inch of darting that we used here, because remember it's half an inch on both sides. Put back that 1 inch and then put back 2 inches of sewing, our seam allowance. And then you're going to connect this point here to your to the waistline. Guys, use your ruler, don't do this way, so that you can get a perfect line. So once that is done, all I have to do now is just to go ahead and cut from here and just cut out my darts. Guys, don't forget you have to have your zipper allowance. This is for my zip, right, because this is the back. And then also go down here, because the back you can't have it straight like this, so you might want to come down here by about, let's say, 1.5, and then connect it from the tip of this point. You can even use a curved ruler if you want to. You can just use a curved ruler like this, and just blend it into this point here, because you want the back to have some curve to it. And then also for the bottom, because of the this bottom part, you also have to cut out 1 inch from this to help your zip relax better. So I'm just going to go up 1 inch here, and then in a straight line I'm going to just connect it here. So guys, this is basically my back bodice. Like I said before, I'm going to insert a video on how to cut your basic off shoulder, but this is just because of the neckline in front, that's why I repeated everything. So I'm just going to go ahead and start cutting. My back panel here. So all you have to do now is to go ahead and cut whatever you want to use for the bottom. You can cut like a flare skirt, you can cut whatever it is you want to use. Like I said, the whole purpose of this video is just the neckline, nothing else. So I'm going to just go ahead and cut out the bottom I'm going to use, which is going to be a pencil skirt. Is it here. I've gone ahead and joined it. So you see how I joined it just at the top and then folded it back down. So guys, one thing I would advise is that for this back panel, when you go to join your darts, please, instead of 1 inch from your chest, like you might want to come down 2 inches or even 3 inches, just come down a lot, so that when you curve the angle from the shoulder, it won't give you like this square here, because this part will be more difficult to sew. So if you want to blend it down a little bit, imagine if this angle came down like this, right? If it came down from this point to this point, it might be a little easier, but because of the sharp bend, you might have to sew this corner. So I would advise, instead of coming down like I did 1 inch from the point, you might want to come down like 2 inches or 3 or 2.5, just to blend it down, so it will be easier for you to sew it. So guys, this is my back panel. I've lined it and it's done. So this is the top. So guys, the one thing you're going to do for this top part here is to go ahead and iron in this stay. You can iron it all over the top, but I just want it at the top part here. This piece at this part here, that's the only part I want to have this. So I've ironed this in here, and then I sewed the lining all over at the top and flipped it back again. So this is what I'm working with. So all I have to do now is just to go ahead. So guys, I'm just going to take it the way it is, and then take my back panel, join the two sides together. So on this side, and then take the other back panel, join the two sides together. And then guys, depending on the type of sleeve you're working with, it depends on you if you're working with the band sleeve or if you're working with a puffy sleeve. I think I'm just going to add a puffy sleeve to it. So basically, this is what I'm going to be using here. Guys, like I said, this video is just for the neckline. So all I'm going to do is just to draw in the same armhole that I have here. You can just take this as it is now. You see, this is the part with the fold, and this part here is the fold, and this is the opening of the sleeve here. And I folded two at a time, so you can just take it the way it is, and you can just take it this way, and then just place one of the come to this edge here, place one of the panels here, and just use it as your guide. But before then, remember, I want to have an elastic here, so I'm just going to come down 1 inch before that, because I'm going to use it to fold in the top part of this, right? And then I'm just going to go ahead and draw in this part here, draw in my armhole, and then go ahead and cut it off. If you don't want to do it that way, you can go ahead and join it together, like so that you can take away the seam allowance, because remember, there's a lot of seam allowance here, so like almost 2 inches of seam allowance. So you can go ahead and sew it first, and then once you're done, let's say I've taken away my seam allowance, now I'll be left with something like this. I'll just come back in now and draw it in, and then maybe give my sleeve like half an inch of seam allowance, because I don't need that much seam allowance for a sleeve. But if you feel like this will be better for you, you can still go with this method. Come down like 1 inch or 1.5, depending on the size of elastic, and then draw in whatever you have here as your armhole, and go ahead and join it together to the body of the cloth. So guys, I'm just going to go ahead and couple everything together, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. It's just to show you guys the neckline, like I said before. So you can add a different bottom, you can add anything you want. I just wanted to show because someone sent me this particular neckline. So thank you guys so much for your time, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.